Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Welcome to another awesome airing of The Wicked Edge with me, your favorite Wicked Wild Child, Tiffani-Beth. I know you miss me. Awesome. Tonight I have an awesome show for you. I have an author. Is this my guest?
Yes, it is.
I was just about to talk about you like you weren't here.
Oh, I'm sorry. She told me to call in, so I said, all right, I'll do it. I got too excited.
That's fine, as long as you don't mind me talking about you like you're not here, like you're not in the room. That is our guest. She is an author, and she is Megan Elizabeth. She is going to be telling us all about her book. I'm very excited. I read about it. It looks very enticing and very, awesome and on the edge of your seat. I can't wait for people to hear about it, and we're going to get to her in a second after I talk about some other people. First, I just want to give a shout-out to a couple of the sponsors. Karen Kennedy at the Caring Coaching Center. If you are looking to be healthier, who isn't looking to be healthier? I know, Lord knows, I need to be healthier. But if you want more than just somebody who's a nutritionalist and more than just a personal trainer, you want to go to the Caring Coaching Center, www.thecaringcoachingcenter.com, where look over what Karen Kennedy has to offer. And while you're there, email her and get a free 50-minute health history consultation. And what that does is, what's wonderful about Karen is that if you want to eat healthier, she'll help you eat healthier. If you want to lose weight, she'll help you lose weight. If you want to just become, more fit in mind, body, and spirit, she'll help you do that. And with the free 50-minute health history consultation, that will help her design a program specifically to meet your needs. So, again, go to www.thecaringcoachingcenter.com, look over the website, email Karen, and start a new life today. It's never too late. There's no such thing as too late. So go ahead and email her today. Also, www.therollinghillsasylum.com. If you're into the paranormal, if you're into history, if you're into fun, the Rolling Hills Asylum is awesome. It's in East Bethany, New York, right outside of Batavia. It's 10 minutes from two major airports, yet it's still in the middle of nowhere. Talk about a geographical oddity. But Sharon Farley and her partner Brad take immaculate care of the place. They have events all the time. Halloween is a huge month for them. They have movie nights. They have investigations. So if you're into, quote, ghost hunting or curious about it, like you see on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, you can go there and do that. They have captive and quarantine hunts, which are basically public and private. You can email her if you have any questions. It's www.therollinghillsasylum.com. You won't regret it. The place is so full of history. If you're into the paranormal, which, my husband and I kind of do on the side, it's really interesting. We've always had some kind of activity there, and it's really neat. But, you can decide for yourself, because we all know there's no such thing as scientific in the paranormal. So that's that. Also, we are going to be there's an event this weekend actually at Rolling Hills Asylum with Brian Cano from the Haunted Collector. It is this Friday and this Saturday. They're going to be doing an investigation. They're going to be going through all of these equipment. It's going to be so much fun. You're not going to want to miss it. There's tickets that are still available. Just go to www.therollinghillsasylum.com. Speaking of events, we're also going to be doing an event at Roberson Museum and Science Center in Binghamton, New York, which is actually just a hop and skip away from where we live. It's going to be like a Comic-Con convention. It's so much fun. They had their first one last year. It was so successful. They're doing it again, and we're doing the advertising for it. So it's going to be the 27th and 28th of September. It's going to be so much fun. I think Rod Sterling's daughter is going to be there. A bunch of movie people are going to be there. And they encourage you to come in your favorite costume of your favorite Comic-Con or your favorite comic book play. People, I'm sorry. I'm trying to embrace my inner nerd. I have an inner nerd, but it's just not coming out correctly tonight, and I apologize. But you can come say your favorite comic character, your Harry Potter character, anybody. And it's so much fun. That is the Roberson Museum and Science Center, RoberCon. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it at www.therobersonmuseum.com. Get your tickets today. They're really reasonable price. It's a family fun event. It's going to be great. Just on a personal note real quick, you know, we need to spread the love, people. There's so much hate right now between Ferguson, between what's going over in Israel. Just stop. Love one another. Be peaceful. Be kind. I think that's what's wrong with the world. There's a lot of animosity and hate, and the energy is so off. Put it away. Put it away. Stop the abuse. Stop the animal abuse. I can't take it. Stop the animal abuse. Stop the child abuse. Stop the murdering. I understand a lot of people are upset with what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri, but violent protesting is not the answer. Use your voice, but use it in a constructive, proactive, peaceful way. Nobody listens to violence, but people will listen to integrity and intellect. Use your voice. Be smart about it. Not your fists and not weapons. I want to pray for the families of Jaden Foley. I feel so bad what happened to their son. That was absolutely horrible, and I pray that they got more of the captives free. Violence is never the answer, so please, everybody, you know, band together, spread the love, spread positivity, stop it with the hate and with the carnage. It's not getting you anywhere. It really isn't. And I'm really surprised after so many years, people do not get that. What has been proven by using hate and carnage? You know, Miss Elizabeth, what has been proven? Absolutely nothing. If you use violence and carnage, nobody listens. And no one, and I don't understand why people don't get that. People have done that for years, and it's gotten them absolutely nowhere. They're always back to square one. I'll never understand why people just don't learn. So that's my thing. So we're going to bring on Miss Megan Elizabeth. She's an author, and she's such a sweet, sweet person. I can't wait for her to tell you all about her book. It's going to be amazing. So how are you tonight?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am very well. I just stepped off my soapbox. I appreciate your patience.
No problem. You're helping me out by having me on there for you.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I said you're the one helping me out by having me on your radio station tonight. So I appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, it's an honor and a pleasure. I love to read, and I love the fact that, you know, people like you are talented and are talented with the word, and you guys write these amazing books, and they're entertaining and insightful and sometimes inspirational. I love that. So thank you for sharing your talent with us. So tell us about your book. What's your book called? What's it about? What inspired you?
Okay, so my book is called Sinner's Craving, and it's really inspired by a very, very twisted love story, and it's a lot of fun. It's urban fantasy, so you get a lot of action, a lot of fighting, things blowing up, people getting hurt, but it also comes with a really, really great backstory and a really huge connection between two amazing characters.
Nice. That is really, really awesome. So,
yeah.
Okay, so where did the basis for your book start? What inspired you to write this book, and how did it develop over time?
Well, like you, I'm a very, very avid reader, and I'm a huge fan of the genre. And I found myself devouring, books, hundreds of books every year. And one year I said, you know what, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to give it a try, and let's see what happens. So I sat down at my computer with, a thought in my head of what I thought would be a really, really great story. And about a year later, it had come out, and it did very well. So I'm pretty pleased with it, and, that's what inspired it. And part of what I love about writing and what it brings to me is that it takes me out of my own world and lets me put my imagination on pages, and I love that.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Now, have you always written, like, from a child? Did you write things? Did you write poetry?
Actually, I didn't really write too much when I was younger. I was actually diagnosed as dyslexic at a very young age. So when I was in about second grade, I still hadn't written my name yet. So I pretty much started writing when I was in fourth grade, so a little bit late for everybody else. But I've always made up stories. I've always been drawing scenes and being very creative, and always thinking about these things in my head and always making things up. And finally, I was like, I bet you I can put this on paper, and it would do well, and it's doing well. So I'm excited.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Now, give us a little bit of background on you. Where do you come from? What did you go to school? What kind of things? Who are you, and what kind of things make up you?
Okay, well, I'm a true Jersey girl, born and raised here.
No.
If you don't hear the accent, it's just going to come out at some point.
That is so funny. You're awesome. I love you already.
Well, I'm glad, because I'm a little nervous, so we're going with it. So, yeah, I was born and raised in New Jersey. I went to school here, and I have a business degree, and I also have a teaching degree. So I've worked with kids and things like that, which I love as well as I love my writing. But my writing kind of takes the precedent over it because I have a passion for it. And I have a son and 2 dogs that are more like children than they are dogs.
Aw, that's awesome. See, I'm an animal lover, an avid animal lover. So I love when people are like, I have dogs, my cats, whatever. I'm like, yay, because I'm a total fur baby lover. Total. Now, do you incorporate your life into your book?
I find that, things that I encounter in life and things that people that are close to me encounter in life do end up inspiring certain scenes in my book. But, again, it's a work of fiction, so it's not based off of my life or anybody else's. But I find inspiration in a lot of different places and through a lot of different experiences.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Are all your books fiction?
Yes. They're urban fantasy, and they have a little bit of Greek mythology in them. Aphrodite is a very huge antagonist, and she's a lot of fun to write. So she is in there.
Now, is she your favorite mythological god or character?
As far as Greek gods go, she's one of my favorites just because she's so mischievous, and she's always doing something naughty that brings intrigue to the pages. I really like her. I like writing her a lot. And, I like writing Zeus, but I took him in a different perspective, and he's not like an old gray Zeus. He's like a young, exciting, fun Zeus that's a little egomaniac. So both of them really bring a lot to the work and to the pages, and they make it fun for my characters and challenging for my characters to get through what they're trying to get through.
That's really awesome. Now, I don't know if I can ask this without giving too much else away. What other characters are kind of like main characters in your book that you were inspired by, your other books of reading?
Well, my main character is my hero. His name is Mateus, and he's so badass. And he is just like this guy who has made a ton of mistakes throughout his past, and he's just trying to rectify it and try to bring himself back to where he wants to be. He's a fallen angel, and he's a warrior. So he is the leader of his group. So he's very, very cool, and he's perfectly flawed. That's what I like to tell everybody, that he's so flawed, but you can't help but root for him,
Right.
And then my heroine, Taylor, I think a lot of people will be able to relate to because she's more modern. Taylor isn't a damsel in distress at all. She's very tough, and she doesn't really want to pay attention to Mateus at all. And when she comes into the book, she really lights up the pages, and I love the way that, she stands out as a female character. And I really love to see strong female characters, and a lot of the books that I've read, like Cressley Cole and her Immortals After Dark series, her female characters are very strong, and that's one of the writers that has inspired me to make my female characters just as strong as hers.
That's very cool. Now, even though your books are pretty fiction-based, do you get any of your characters from your family?
Do I get any characters from my family? I would say that Taylor is a single mom, much like I am, and her son is very much inspired by mine. So you get to see a little bit of my son in him, so to speak. Now,
is your family really supportive of your writing?
Yes, they are. Actually, My parents are pretty funny about it. They didn't even know that I was really writing a book until I was sat there and was like, hey, I just want to let you guys know that I wrote a book. And they're both like, what's going on? And then as the second I said it, they were all over it. They were like, you have to go out, you have to talk to people, you have to promote. So they are extremely, extremely supportive. And as I've been working on the second one in the series, they have been like, I'll take your son, I'll watch them. And they have been crazy, crazy just trying to help me, make a really true go at it.
Oh, my God. That's so cool. It sounds like you come from a very positive background.
I do. I'm actually lucky in that way. I know a lot of people have struggled through life, but I've had my own set of struggles when it comes to, like, love and relationships and things like that. And that's what makes, the emotions in the book raw and believable, because I write what I know, and I know how it feels. So I do have a great family, which is amazing, and that's why I know how to write a great dynamic between Taylor and her son. I know how to write, the anxiousness and the feelings of how it is to struggle. So I get that. I like that it will relate to people, and people can relate to that.
It does sound like, even though your books are set mostly in fiction, that they are very relatable, and I think that's super, super important. Regardless if you're writing about fiction or nonfiction, fantasy, whatever, you have to have elements in your book where people can go, hey, I understand that. I get why they're feeling that way, or this or that, because I think that bridges the gap between you and your reader, and it makes your book that much more endearing, which helps for marketing purposes and sales, make sales great.
Exactly. I feel like the books that have impacted people the most, or have impacted me the most, are the ones that I connect to on a personal level, like where I can see, the struggle, and I understand it. And to me, that's what I want to convey to my readers. I understand the struggle, but I always want to give them hope and let them know that there is light at the end of that tunnel,
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And like I said, whether that be fiction or nonfiction, I think that's important, because even, you watch things on sci-fi and you're like, well, I'm inspired, or, okay, my day sucks, but their day got better, so my day will get better. I think no matter what you do, whether it be book writing, songwriting, or whatever, true or not, always something can be there that can feed the reader and give them kind of like a sense of gratification and inspiration.
Right, exactly. And that's what we all try to go for as writers. We always want to connect with our readers, And whether it's inspiring or it's a little bit naughty, then, maybe we all make those kind of connections.
Naughty, I think a lot of people can connect with naughty. I don't think I know one person who couldn't.
I agree. I think a lot of people like to read some of those naughty scenes, and I love to write those scenes. So you will see some of that in there as well. So prepare yourself. It is not a G-rated book. I will tell you that much.
Those scenes when you, because I'm a writer. I'm not a writer. I like to write. So I'm in the middle of trying to write a book, and you write those scenes, and sometimes you're like, ooh, I'm even liking this myself, and I'm writing it. Holy crap!
You know what? I will tell you this much. When I attended my first writing conference, script was a work in progress at that point, and I had sat in this one lecture room, and they said to me, whether you have finished your book or you're not published or you're unpublished or you're self-published, it doesn't matter. If you write, you are a writer. So you should consider yourself a writer, definitely.
Aw, thanks. I feel better now. Actually, I really do, because you never, like people like me, you just write. You're like, I'm so not a writer. But I think, it is true. It's validation for your work, I think that's great. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. Now, I just have to ask this, since you brought up the naughty bits, have the naughty parts been inspired by any, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for, adventures?
I think I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
I hear her blushing, people, so we all know how to take that. We hear blushing.
Yes, I think I'm gonna plead the fifth and remain innocent, and just say I hope you like it. Next chapter, how about them Yankees? That's what's. Yeah, Yeah, right? How are those Yankees? Have you seen the Giants lately? I'm telling you.
Just like do the eye roll, like, oh, and the Giants are doing well. I just think it's fun. Now I can't wait to read the book, and I'm going to have you back on to discuss those parts.
Well, I would really appreciate you reading it, and anytime you want me to come on, I would love to.
Absolutely. You're always welcome on the show. Now, can you give a little more insight into the book, into the background, as well as some other books and backgrounds that you have that maybe will entice the readers to be like, hey, I got to read that?
Sure. Well, I have 3 projects going on right now. So the first one that I'm talking to you about right now is Sinner's Craving. And in this book, it is the beginning of the series. It's called the League of the Fallen series. And essentially what the series is about is that there is a group of 8 warriors that has fallen from grace after they've followed the devil in his fall.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's actually really interesting because Lucifer plays a really great antagonist and the Greeks get mixed in there. But how it really works is that these 8, they fell from grace, and what they have to do now to earn their way back is earn their redemption and fight against Lucifer and the demons that they helped to unleash. I mean, they messed up big time. So when they're fighting, the creator realizes that they are outnumbered and not winning, and that's when the first line of immortals are born in the Greek gods. So the Greeks are really the backups to these fallen warriors, and each of the warriors is in charge of, keeping these Greeks in line because they're all very mischievous, they're all very naughty, and they have a ton of family drama between them without the angels being involved. So in the first book, you get to meet Matthias, who is the leader, and you get to know a little bit about his fall and how his love interest comes into play and how even though he feels like he's not getting anywhere, he really does get somewhere in the end. And that's what I really love about Sinner's Craving, because there's always that build-up of him not knowing where he's going to go or what he's going to do, and eventually he finds his way, and he finds his way with Taylor, and it's great, and I love the dynamic between the two of them. The banter, she's strong, she's great, she's awesome. So that's Sinner's Craving. That's the first book, and that's the book that's out right now on Amazon, and you can see that on Goodreads, and hopefully you guys like it, rate it, and it's awesome. The second project I'm working on is called Borrowed Sins, and it's the follow-up to Sinner's Craving. And Borrowed, the second book, and I just finished it and just finished editing it. So it's on it's on its way. That's the second project. And the last project is a new series that I'm working on. It's a mystery, and that's pretty much all I'm going to give you on that one for right now.
That's awesome. Now, with Sinner's Cravings, I hear a lot about heaven and hell and fallen angels. Are you kind of infatuated with that type of genre, with that type of history and mythology?
I would say I'm really infatuated with mythology. I'm really infatuated with warriors and strong characters. I wouldn't say that I'm really infatuated with heaven and hell, but I like the dynamic and I like what it brings to the story. So I like using different characters. I like giving them different powers, different backgrounds. I like that it's not just all vampires or all shifters. You know what I mean? So there's all different kinds of walks of life in the fictional world.
That sounds so awesome. I want to let you know we have an author's corner on our page, and if you would like to send us your banners for your books, your picture and a link to where people can go to your websites and stuff, we'll be happy to put it on our author's corner so anybody can find you.
That would be amazing. That would be totally amazing. I'd be so excited and honored to do that.
We'd be honored to have you. I mean, it's nice because there's some other authors on there, and there's all sorts of genres and books. So we would be honored to have you, and then we can also put up any updates on any of your books coming out.
That would be great.
That would be great. If anybody who's listening, if you go to the www.dtmwickedradio.com page, click on the listen and chat, and then click on the Amazon link and type in Sinner's Cravings, you can actually go and find her book through there. So So what else do you do besides writing? You teach, you have children. What other kind of outside activities do you do? And when you have writer's block, how do you overcome it?
Okay, let's see. So I do teach preschool, so I work with 4-year-olds a lot, and I really love it. They're so cute, and they like to have a lot of fun, and they're just always smiling. Little kids are always smiling, so it's great. So I do that, and then usually I have a lot of energy, so I channel a lot of my things into art. I like to draw, I like to paint, and I read way too much. It's just crazy. I have books everywhere in my house. It could be on my house is just crazy, full of books. It's terrible. I love that, and and then I play soccer mom on the weekends, and that's how it goes. And then at night, when my son goes to bed, I write terrible scenes and I put them on paper.
That's awesome. Now, what type of books do you like to read? What authors have inspired you, or what's your go-to author to read from?
My go-to author is Cressley Cole. She's my go-to. I love her. It is so bad. If I ever met her, I would probably have like a fan freak-out moment and be like, do you know who you are? Kind of thing, She's pretty amazing. So she's my go-to. I read everything that she writes. I read it. It's terrible. So I'm a huge fan of hers. I like to stick to Cressley Cole. I read J.R. Ward. I mean, who doesn't love the Warden? I mean, Black Dagger Brotherhood. Come on. She's just the best. It's unattainable. You can't even reach that status. She's just up there on a pedestal, going to stay there forever. Who else? I love J.R. Ward. I love Cressley Cole. I like Janet Ivanovich. I think she's hilarious. Mm-hmm. I love the Stephanie Plum series. They're great. Those are, I pretty much stick to those. I've read a couple of James Patterson's. They're quick reads. They're fun and they're easy, so I like those. Just when you have to beach read, Yeah,
exactly. I have to ask this because of a lot of the authors you're mentioning. Did you read 50 Shades of Grey?
I did read 50 Shades of Grey.
What did you think about it?
Let's see. 50 Shades of Grey, my opinion on 50 Shades of Grey. I actually liked 50 Shades of Grey. I thought it drew a lot of attention to erotica, and a lot of people thought it was the first erotica to ever come out, but that's definitely not true. It just was one of those ones that just had that magical moment and hit big,
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of people that don't like to read books that hit it big because they think it's too commercial, but it's one of those things where I don't think a book can be too commercial because it was written before anybody knew about it,
Exactly.
So,
that makes such a good point, yes.
Yeah. So I read 50 Shades of Grey. I liked 50 Shades of Grey. And I think 50 Shades of Grey inspired a whole new wave of writers to start writing different things. Cressley Cole was really big into urban fantasy and paranormal, and then she came out with The Professional, which is really on the erotica line next to 50 Shades of Grey. So I think in that aspect, it's really great for the industry to be inspired to write new things and try new things and move in different directions. So I did read it. I enjoyed it. Some of the parts I was like, wow, you can actually do that?
People really do. What?
It was just I'm going to get out my notebook. On a side note, maybe I'll have to use this at some point in something, not sure where, Yeah.
So. Well, my mother actually read 50 Shades of Grey, and she had a couple of those moments of people actually do that, and she asked me, she's like, Tiffani, do people do this? I go, yes. Don't ask me how I know, but they yes. They do, and she's like, well, how do you? I said, don't ask me. And she's like, okay.
The funny thing is that my mom was like, should I read 50 Shades of Grey? I'm like, if you read it, I am not discussing it with you. And she was like, okay. So she read it. She's like, but I just want to ask you. And I'm like, nope, we're not talking about this, And then my grandma, who's totally wild, she's so much fun, such a ball buster. She was like, I think I'm going to read 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like, Grandma, there's a lot of bad parts in it. She was like, I'll just close my eyes through those parts. I'm like, then you might as well not read the book.
You're going to be able to read the first and last sentences of every book. Between it, you'll just sleep. You don't worry about it.
I know. I'm telling you, when she read Sinner's Craving, I must have been blushing for about 2 weeks, just knowing that she was reading it. So.
Well, it's interesting. Like I don't know if you do this, but when I write a book, I kind of multitask 2 books because I'll be inspired for one moment, to write a bunch of one, and then, I kind of, I have to stop and think, okay, where do I want it to go now? But then, like, I kind of have writing ADD, and then I'm like, but I have an idea for this other book. So she's asking me if she could read my second book, and my second book is more along the lines of erotic, and I'm like, no, absolutely not, because it is inspired by my own life. And I'm like,
okay.
You don't need to know more about me than you already know. She's like, I think it'll be fine. I'm like, no. Why don't you think I won't talk about 50 Shades of Grey with you? The answer is no. That is just a mother-daughter line you do not cross.
That's so funny because I let my mom read the first one. I let my mom read Sinner's Craving, and I was fine with it. I was like, go ahead, read it. Tell me what you think. I want to know. After I wrote Borrowed Sins, the second one, she was like, when do I get to read it? I'm like, no. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this one is so much naughtier than the first one. No, you can't do it.
Well, I don't know if your mother's like my mom, but my mom will read it and be like, she tries, I love my mother dearly, but she tries to know everything. And she'll be like, well, Tiffani-Beth, do you really want his head there and your hand there? And she'll try to critique what's going on. And I'll just be like, you need to stop. You need to stop. This has nothing to do with you. Your critique is not going to help it.
Yeah.
Stop.
I don't want the visual. Thank you for your opinion. I don't need the visual.
That's pretty much it. I think, it's so funny being, a writer like you are, you get all these creative juices and stuff like that. And then when people read it, they're like, well, do you want this here? And you're just like, stop infringing on my creativity.
I think that's one of those things, like, when you're a writer, you have to be ready to take criticism because everybody is a critic. And so you need to be able to just be like, you know what, I'm sharing my work with everybody else for what it is, and I love my book for what it is. But, people are going to criticize no matter what you do. And either they're going to criticize for one reason or another. You have to take what you can from it and use it to make your writing better, and the rest just has to, in one ear, out the other, and roll off your back.
Absolutely. I stuffed it in my I don't care box.
Exactly.
I
like to call it the you don't know what you're talking about box. That's my favorite thing.
And for some people, that's a really big box.
I'm telling you.
Sometimes I meet people and I'm just like, my box overfloweth with I don't care and you don't know what you're talking about. I know that sounds really bad, but it's so true.
It is true.
It's interesting. I'm all about love and peace and working together, but there really are some people out there that I'm just like, wow, you can form words. You have no idea what you're talking about, but you can form words. Your mother must have been proud.
Exactly. And you just kind of like shrug it off. You're just like, all right, if you don't like my book, it's cool. There are plenty of other ones out there for you to read, but mine's still awesome and I know it, so go for it and buy it, kind of thing. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You just have to take it. You just have to take it with a grain of salt and just let it go.
You do. You truly, truly do. And just, I love it because you have so much confidence in yourself. And I love a confident writer because you can read a book and you can tell when the writer was not very confident. And I think sometimes that turns it off. A turn off to me in a book is when I can't relate to it because I just can't get into it. And then another turn off is when you read something and you can just tell by the way the writer writes that they weren't confident. And all the editing in the world was not going to change that.
Yeah, they call it the passive voice. It's like one of the biggest no-nos, definitely.
Yes, but you're very confident, and I absolutely love that, and that makes me want to read your book all that much more. I mean, just the name itself, Sinner's Cravings, it makes you go, oh, hey, this is a book for me to read when there's no one around, and it's such an enticing name because sometimes you have names of books, and this is where I feel bad for some authors, where I think their publisher kind of failed them. You have some books that have names that aren't very exciting, but you open the book and you can't put it down. Where there's also books out there that have exciting names. You're like, oh, this sounds great. And you might read a page, and the page you read is fantastic. But then you go to the book, you're like, wow, this is really boring. But Sinner's Cravings, I mean, it just sounds like a book like, I have to read it. I have to read it. It sounds naughty. It sounds tantalizing. It sounds just absolutely maniacal in a way, but in a good way. And the way you described it from your descriptory to the name of the book, I highly recommend everybody go out and get it already. And I haven't read it just because it just sounds like something that you will not want to put down from cover to cover.
It is a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun to write. And when you're picking the name of a title, it's so hard sometimes. Like, you just sit there and you're just like agonize over it. And actually, Sinner's Craving has had probably about 2 titles already. So, and when I said Sinner's Craving, I got that goosebumps on my arm, and I was like, that's it. That's the title. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I think titles are so easy to overthink, too.
Yes, they are. And my friend and I, she's a writer as well, and we're critiquing partners, and we're very brutal to each other when it comes to writing, because you have to be. If you don't tell somebody the truth about how their manuscript is before they actually send it out, then you're not doing them justice. So we're very brutal towards each other. So I'll send her one, and I'll be like, what do you think about this? She's like, you can do better, and then that'll be it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could do better.
But that's good that you have somebody, because I have close friends who are blunt with me as well. And it's nice to have that, because at least they're not saying, oh, no, this is fantastic, you did great, when in reality they're going, well, I would probably rewrite that, or I would think this over, or I wouldn't do that. But when you have those friends who are like, you know what, this whole page right here, it's not working for me, and I don't think it's going to work for anybody else, or you know what, that name, I don't think that name works well. It's nice when you have somebody who's blunt and open and honest, because that means they care enough about you and your art to want it to succeed.
Exactly, and that's important. And that's important as a writer to have that around. When you're writing your first draft, it's not really something to share with anybody. It's something that you really need to work through on your own and feel the characters out and feel the scene out and make sure that it's very clear in your head. When you're going through and you're editing and you need somebody to, be your critiquing partner, you want somebody that's going to be brutally honest with you and actually going to tear it apart the best that they can so that you can fix it and make sure that it is smooth and just wonderful, and that's very important to have as a writer. And I really enjoyed having that, So.
Oh, absolutely. It's like having an editor with you at all times that's really going to be honest with you and takes your craft seriously. I think
exactly.
Now, I ask some of the authors I have on my show if they want to do this. Some do, some don't, because I clearly don't want you to give too much of your book away, because I really want readers to be surprised when they read a majority of the book. But is there an excerpt of the book that you would like to read to the listeners that, might entice them even more to want to jump on Amazon and buy the book?
I actually don't even I didn't know we were going to look for an excerpt. Hold on a second. Let me see if I actually have one. I'm like walking around my house just trying to stay calm.
And here I'm chilling in the studio with a cocktail. I'm sorry, I should have offered you one.
Yeah, I'm saying you really should have. I'd be much more calm.
You're fine. It's everybody knows the Wicked Edge is fun. We're not perfect here. We swear. We have mess ups. Like last week, I completely forgot a sponsor's name. It's just all fun and games here.
Let's see. What are you looking for? Do you want to see dialogue or do you want to see narrative?
I'm sorry?
Which would you prefer to hear, dialogue or narrative?
You choose. You know what? You're the creative juice behind it, and I want you to choose what you think your listeners would want to hear.
Okay, let's see. I don't know what to do.
How about you read a monologue? You read some narrative.
Some narrative. Okay. Well, since it's in the third person, so it's third person narrative, I can give you, how about the first paragraph of the book?
It sounds perfect.
Okay. First paragraph of the book. Rose quartz stones were supposed to be smooth, like pebbles that had spent decades sitting at the bottom of the ocean and finally washing up on shore with no jagged edges. But after kneeling in the same place on rose quartz stones, even the smoothest rocks will cut through ever-weakening, strange skin.
That
is the first paragraph.
That's actually kind of very, what's the word I'm looking for? Profound in a way. I like that.
A little bit with that one. I mean, I can give you a couple more sentences if you like.
Sure.
All right, let's do 3 more sentences. With sorrow and regret heavy in his heart, Mateus observed the expanding pool of blood around his tender, aching knees. A sharp edge would make a quick, painless cut, but a dull one would take time to pierce the skin, sawing away at it slowly. He'd been kneeling here for 3 weeks, waiting for an answer to his plea for forgiveness. The pure white feather that had fallen the moment his knees had hit the ground, it and many others now lay soaked in the crimson beneath him. Each one had been replaced by one raven-like and blacker than the night. And that's it.
No, I like that. Now I want to know what happened before that, and I want to know what happens after that. That's awesome. I'm definitely going to buy the book. We're definitely going to have you back on for more books, also to update us on how everything is going. Please send us all your information so we can get you up on the office corner, because I think that will be awesome.
I will absolutely do that.
So do you want to give out some more information, how people can contact you if they would like you on their show? Will you be having any book signings? Will you be making appearances anywhere?
Sure. You can check out my website. It's www.meganelizabethauthor.com. And on there you have a way to contact me. My email's on there, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all the social media, so you will see all of that on my website. As far as signings, I'll be having a signing next month. The date hasn't been determined. It's going to be in October, and it's going to be in the Metuchen area of New Jersey. So I will be posting things about that as soon as it's completely settled. That will be my second signing. I already had the first one, but the second one, and it'll be a lot of fun. We'll be doing some giveaways and, swag and talking about the book, and it'll be a good time. So once I get that information, hopefully I can send that over to you, and you can let whoever know that if they want to come, they can come. That'd be great. And let's see, what else? And I think that's about it for right now. But like I said, I keep updating my website constantly and letting people know. And I'm always on Facebook. I'm really easily reached on Facebook. I have it on my phone, so anybody that wants to know about the book or ask any information, they can contact me that way too. I'm always open to all of it.
That is awesome. That is so, so awesome. And everybody, again, her book is Sinner's Craving. You are going to want to go on Amazon to get that under Megan Elizabeth. Again, go to www.dtmwickedradio.com, click on the Amazon affiliate link, and you can type in the name of the book, Megan Elizabeth, Sinner's Craving, and it will come right up. I am so glad you came on the show. It's been so, so much fun. I can't wait to read your book, and you have an open door on the Wicked Edge anytime.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely good for my first radio interview. You popped my interview cherry, so there you go.
Wow, that can go in a million different directions. That'll be for another show called Upstate. Happy to break it for you. Happy to break it for you. And that will be another book.
That's right. There you go. Inspiration at its best.
Absolutely. Just off the top of their head, that's where it comes from, reality. Everybody have an awesome, awesome night. Again, Megan Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us. You've been nothing but a pleasure, so much fun, and it's such an honor to have you. And good luck with your book sales. I'll definitely be mentioning it to everybody I know. This will also be on iHeartRadio, so you never know what might happen there. Again, everybody look at www.thecaringcoachingcenter.com, RollingHillsAsylum.com. Also, don't forget to purchase your tickets for RoverCon in Binghamton, New York. And don't forget to go to Amazon, www.dtmwickedradio.com. Click on the Amazon link and order Megan Elizabeth, Sinner's Cravings today. Everybody have a great night and stay calm and peaceful. Good night, everybody. Good night, Megan.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.